Do it now!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 3 of the Nerd Variety Podcast. Woohoo! Air horn noises.
Three,
welcome.
Yeah, we're back for Season 3. We're super excited to be here. It's hard to believe that it's been a year already since we started this, but we've been having fun, so we're going to keep going.
I thought you were going to say it's hard to believe that it's been a year since Season 2. I'm like, that's because it hasn't been.
No,
Wait a minute.
Since we started.
I thought I slept for a month.
I wish, for many reasons. So normally in the season, this is where we would start off with saying, hey, this is what's going on this season. Here are the movies and games and TV shows coming out that we're excited for. And there are some of those, but movies and shows specifically have kind of been put on hold because 2020 is terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, the virus.
So instead of talking about that, because we don't want to be sad today, because it's our first day back, we're going to be talking a little bit more long-term, a little bit more into the future, things that we would like to see done at some point down the road. Some of these are going to be
optimistic.
Yeah,
yes, very much so.
Some of these might be some obscure titles you've never heard of that we know of. There's like, oh my gosh, I read the story, it'd be great. Some of these you might be familiar with, but we're suggesting that they try again or do something different or something like that. The first one that comes to mind would be they're finally redoing Avatar as a show instead of a terrible movie, and we're all very excited about that. And if they weren't already doing that, we would probably suggest it, but they are.
They're finally making an Avatar show.
Well,
a live action.
Live action.
Yes.
So in order to not dominate the conversation, do either one of you want to posit an idea first?
Sure. If we're talking about taking something and doing it better than it has been done, or maybe not even necessarily better, but more acceptable or accessible for today.
Both.
Yeah. Putting it into a fitting medium.
So something that I remember playing when I was growing up, but I have no idea where you could even find it these days. I loved the Harry Potter video games. Like they weren't terrible, but then again, it's been so long since they were a thing that I can't really remember what they were like. I think they were actually mostly puzzle-based games and maybe platforming games. I think they were on the GameCube, but point being, maybe PlayStation 2, maybe both. Point being,
that in that generation,
I would love to see a new Harry Potter game, and maybe several, maybe just one. For the longest time, I have wanted an MMO RPG in the Harry Potter world, and like a really well done one, which I don't know how, if that's going to happen. I think I remember hearing plans for that, but.
So would you want it to be based on the actual stories and linear, or because when you said that, I immediately for some reason got an image of Breath of the Wild in my head, having this very open world kind of thing, and just the idea of he uses his magnet skill to move a thing, right? I feel like you could have a lot of sort of similar actions, or a list of spells to choose from.
I would like it to be, I don't know, and maybe not an MMORPG. I could maybe see something that's more single player, but just exploring a lot of these places, maybe events, characters that you didn't really get a lot of time to focus on in the books or the movies or anything. So, it's just, I don't know. I think they could do a great version or a great open world MMO or single player game like all of that in the Harry Potter world. And I would be excited about it because I think gameplay could be very good, but that's something that also would take a lot of...
Especially with the graphics that we have today, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you could do that would be really, really cool. And I think maybe having both a sort of more linear storyline sort of thing and a sort of open world, you're just kind of in the universe going on your own adventures, could both be pretty cool sort of ideas.
Yeah, if it was kind of like a Star Wars: The Old Republic sort of thing. Yeah, I don't think either of you have played that, but it's on Steam now.
I think I watched you play it.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Probably.
So
again, that's it has a linear story. Like for each class, they have a story that they can follow, but it's also an MMO, so you can do all this group stuff.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I can definitely see a lot of potential with a lot of different spell casting and like if it was at Hogwarts, like going to classes and like leveling up different skills and stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting. Did you ever play Bully? Either of you ever played Bully? It's a Rockstar game.
I wanted to.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of. I think it could be kind of like that, but in a Hogwarts setting instead. It'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
I do remember seeing some of the Harry Potter games as the movies came out, seeing them advertised for the GameCube, PS2, and I was like, oh, they're fighting, they're trying to recreate all the scenes that you saw in the trailers. But I can definitely see something a little more concrete versus like the Wizards Unite game for the phones is fun, but I think this will give people a lot more to do with them, really immerse themselves in that world.
Yeah, I play a Harry Potter phone game, and it's fun, but it's like very, very story based, and it's like energy based as well. So it's like, oh, you couldn't go to this, that, or whatever, but then you have to wait and like rebuild your energy. And it's like, yeah, but it's just kind of like that could be so much more. So, but they did go through the route of like, it's set sort of before Harry Potter technically, and so it's kind of that it's in the world, but it's going along its own storyline, so it is kind of more linear.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see that being like having a like full blown, I just think of like Breath of the Wild or The Witcher, or like some sort of thing where you're running around a world and you're doing all these things, kind of type of thing.
Yeah.
So, Josh?
Me? Well, I think me and Hunter, and I think Hannah was around too for one of our pre-season 3 discussions about a Green Lantern video game. Green Lantern's been in comics for years. He's had a TV show. He's been featured in other TV shows. He had a movie, which we don't really talk about, and he's supposed to have a series coming out soon, a live action series coming out soon, but who knows when that's going to come out. Soon.
Josh, just remember that the Green Lantern movie canonically did not happen because Deadpool shot Ryan Reynolds before he could do it.
Oh, sorry. I must have some weird timeline.
Yeah, alternate reality.
Thing. Yeah. A splitting headache, I guess you could call it. But Green Lantern has showed up in video games in some weird, but there was a video game that had Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern in it, which was weird. And I heard it was okay. But Green Lantern had showed up in the Injustice games. He was pretty good in 1. He was in 2. But I would like to see a open, space, a open galaxy, I guess you could say sandbox game of Green Lantern, where you can create your own character, patrol your own space sector. Seeing all these games, like I think it's No Man's Sky, where you can go across solar systems and galaxies. Am I in the right ballpark there?
I think so. I've never played it. There's a few actually that you can do that. I think is it Everspace, or I don't know. There's one that's like a flight simulator in space. I can't remember for sure what.
Yeah.
That's where I need to do a flight simulator. Not a lot of stuff to run into.
Right. Yeah, space,
asteroids and planets and stuff.
I mean, you could have like your challenges. You could choose to do you could have a mission where you could do like fast travel, of course, like, oh, ring, open up a wormhole, zip right to the planet you want to go to. Or you could do like a story where you have to travel to a planet and avoid like being shot down by spaceships or an asteroid field, or some weird solar, massive solar flare or whatever. And you could go to different planets and like experience, like I guess go see different alien communities and be involved in what's going on, and just make it very. It would take a lot of detail work, but I think it'd be well worth it.
Again, I'm picturing something similar to like The Witcher 3, where it's like you have sort of a main storyline, but it takes you to these different lands, and when you're in each location, like it's a different sort of mini story. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're going for, but I get that sort of a mix of like open world and story driven sort of thing.
Right. Because I
don't feel like it would work well for just a pure like Minecraft sandbox, but your Green Lantern kind of thing. That would be weird.
Right. You give players a chance to re-experience some classic villain storylines if they want to throw them in there, but really just highlight the whole exploration and just you're a space cop.
Yeah, more what I'm thinking is like each planet has its own storyline or own things you can do on it, and like an individual sort of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be difficult to.
You could do a brightest day and blackest night thing, which I think is the reverse order of that in the comics. That could be interesting. Then, that would be a way for them to bring in, that'd probably be more accessible to a wider audience, because then you could bring in other characters in the DC universe.
Like other lanterns, you mean?
Well, yes, but also, just other characters. Have you read Blackest Night and Brightest Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you have all these other characters, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawkman, Hawkgirl.
Yeah, I'm more so thinking of other lanterns would be interesting for maybe like a sequel or enemies you could fight, but I think it's good. It would be good for like the Green Lanterns to have their own game, because they're usually just kind of thrown into other people's other games and of course.
Well, that's why you give everybody else the Green Lantern treatment. You're like, yeah, this is a Green Lantern game, but you can like come have a cameo, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Treat Batman like that. Be like, oh yeah, Batman was there for like one scene, but it's a Green Lantern game.
Yeah, there's a great comic like panel that I guess Sinestro or someone was fighting a Green Lantern, and he said, "I've been training from all these different artists from all over the cosmos. Who trained you?" And the guy gets in an uppercut, and he says, "Batman." So something like that, but
yeah.
Just give them a chance to immerse themselves in that world, and it would be really interesting to see how they do the ring system. You can get them options of like constructs to make, or have them learn to make their own constructs.
Yeah,
it can happen. It can happen.
That'd be cool. I see lots of potential for different ways that they could take it, all of which would be cool.
Yes.
Or of course, assuming that both of these games are like good games.
Well, of course.
I think they could be.
I don't think we wish for bad games.
No, please, no. Don't make this admittedly bad.
Good games. Good games.
Did you ever play Rise of the Manhunters, Josh?
No, that's the one I was talking about earlier.
Oh.
I read some reviews on it.
I was wondering if it was good or not. I think I remember seeing gameplay footage from it, and I thought I remembered it looking good, but I don't know.
It was decent. They said it played like God of War with some levels where you have to I guess keep like they just have you flying at like top speed while you're trying to avoid asteroids or you're trying to shoot things down.
That sounds cool. This sounds fun.
Sounds
fun. Yeah. Okay. I feel like this is our typical reactions to everything, though. I'm like, that sounds cool, and you're like, eh.
Until you actually see it, then oh my god!
I mean, the new Avengers game looked cool, sounded cool until we saw the most recent gameplay footage.
Oh, I'd still give it a try just because it's Avengers.
I'll give it a try when it's on sale.
That's probably what I'll do. Yeah,
when it's on sale.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't think of any characters or anybody that I wanted to have their own game, because I feel like my brain's been like all in the movie sort of realm, and I can't. I was like, I don't know if we really want to turn movies into games. I don't feel like it usually works well.
Not usually.
It depends. Again, I feel like it mostly has to be like not story driven, but more like set you in the universe and just kind of have you do your own thing. Or there's like a separate story that's sort of connected, but like trying to just be like, let's just have the movie, but now you play it. Not usually going to go over well.
Not usually, no.
Not usually. But there were a few movies that I want to see redone, and specifically redone as more of like I called it like a mini series, and Hunter, of course, pointed out it's not a mini series; it was like a full series. But the series of unfortunate events, they had the movie back in the day, and it was admittedly really kind of terrible. But then they came out with the Netflix series where it was 2 episodes per book, which I felt like gave them enough time to really go into each book, and they were dedicated to being that's true, and they were dedicated to being like really close to the book as much as they wanted. They took some creative license, but they tried to like really keep it true, and they decided not to extend the series because they wanted to give it their all for the episodes they were making. I would like to see the same thing done with the Chronicles of Narnia,
which the Netflix is supposed to get a hold, I think they have a hold of.
Oh, I hope so.
We just don't know if it's going to be like when they're going to be putting them out.
Yeah, and again, I would love it to be that same sort of like a 2 episodes thing for each movie or each book. Yeah. Words. Instead, I feel like 2 episodes for some reason works better than a movie. I don't know why, because it's technically the same amount of time.
Why would it be? Do you not think that 2 episodes per book would be trying to squish it together too much? I mean, you could expand it.
You definitely could. I definitely don't think that you should be limited. I guess that would be my thing, is I don't think you should be limited to a book turns into a movie.
Yeah, but again, like some, well, not necessarily again, but there are other books that have been turned into shows that they do more of like a season per book.
I don't
like
know if
Game of Thrones did that.
I don't know if they need that much.
Witcher did that.
Yeah,
So
I would say that they would need something kind of in the middle there, because like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie that came out way back in the day was actually pretty good.
It was.
Like, they covered most of the stuff that was in the book, and it was done well, and the characters were great.
Everything looked good.
Right?
I guess.
No, that was
I don't know.
That was the movie. BBC did a series, I guess a TV series back in the way back when, and that was kind of that was a mini series, but they made 3 movies back in the 2000s.
Yeah, and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was great. Prince Caspian was and Voyage of the Dawn Treader was awful. And so I feel like if they really wanted to, they could stick to the books. The books are fantastic, and like go through the whole series and try and do the whole thing justice, because they picked, I guess, one of the 3 most popular books, but like The Horse and His Boy I really enjoyed, like The Silver Chair.
Yeah, they did kind of a Caspian Prince, the Pevensey trilogy. So
right.
For there, but they had to kind of work around with the actors getting too old,
getting older,
getting old, which they could really keep them in the right age range if they do a TV series.
Yeah, but I would love to see all the other books done, because what is it? There would be 1, 3, 6, and 7. Like, no one talks about.
Yeah.
Right, like ever. But I would love to see all of them done.
One day.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, I just don't know how I'm going to react to like seeing the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and Voyage redone. I'm not sure how I'm going to react to that. But
as long as it's good, I'm down for it. I think what's probably would be the weirdest for me would be like kind of getting into the story, and like in the first book you meet the evil queen, whatever her name is, I've forgotten. And then, so that kind of what did you say, Josh? Did you say your name?
Yeah, Jadis.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and that leads into the second book, and then the third book is kind of like a wait, what are we doing now? For kind of moment, it's a good book, but
are you going chronologically, or are you going by release?
Yeah. So like The Horse and His Boy, between Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian, it's just kind of like, what are we doing now? Why are we here? But I read the book and really enjoyed it, but it's weird to have it as like part of that series. But I would still like to see them done like kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in order. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, since I've read all the books, I think I could handle watching them that order. But someone who hasn't read them, like kids, I mean they probably would be better for them to watch it in release order.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they do it, but
I haven't read them.
You should. They're good.
Check them out. You can get you can get all of them in like one big book.
Yeah, I think we have all like 7 individual books and one big book.
I mean, I may have it somewhere in the house. I don't actually know. I may used to have had it. Could be.
Possibly.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
you got another one?
Yeah, I actually had a couple, and
We'll pick
one was going to be another kind of remake sort of thing, but the one that I want, I'll go with another game. A game that I want. It's more specifically a storyline, even just the idea of a character. I would like to see a game adaptation of The Batman Who Laughs. Just because...
Explain.
Like, so that, it could be kind of a Batman Arkham-ish game, like style game, but if you don't know who, if you don't know who the Batman Who Laughs is, so it's a more recent thing, I believe. The Joker had infected himself with essentially this virus that when he is killed, it is expelled from his body and it goes out and infects whoever's close. And in this case, he happened to die next to Batman, and it infected him, and he basically is a mix of Batman and the Joker. So he's incredibly smart, very strategic, strong, and crazy, and will kill everybody for
everyone and everything.
Yes. And then
so what?
Interesting, because I don't want to spoil anything.
No spoilers.
For the comics. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what medium is this in now? Is it just comics?
Yeah, it's just comics.
Yeah, right now
you said a game.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like a cool. I feel like it could be a cool TV show.
I mean, I think so too.
How far you want to stretch the story?
I mean, that's also kind of something I was gonna say. My other thing was I would love to see another live action Batman show, because they've only done the one in the 60s, and I would love to see...
It's a good point, huh?
I would love to see another one. Like, they did Gotham, but that's not like a Batman show. They've done animated ones, but...
It was pretty much Gotham, like, PD, which they're actually going to do that again to go along with the new Batman movie.
It's weird, but okay.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's going to be like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of the DC universe.
Exactly. That's basically what they pulled that from.
If you had a Batman TV show, would you want it to be part of like the
honestly,
it's like the CW,
the
Arrow, Flash, yeah.
Oh, the Arrowverse, you mean?
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Because I know that technically,
I don't personally care about if it would be a part of that or not. I haven't been keeping up with the Arrowverse in
That's
years.
kind of why I would vote no, just because I got really into Supergirl for a while there, but I got really sick and tired of oh, here's this special that's coming on. What do you mean I have to go watch an episode of Flash and an episode of Legends of Tomorrow and all of that? I'm like, this is there's just too much crossover at this point. I think. Don't get me wrong, it's cool.
Well,
it's
fun.
It's
just they have them all separated, and it's like you want to watch the whole thing because it's basically like a movie.
Yeah.
But they just don't have it out in many places. I'm sure that I think they do have it on. You can watch it on Prime as one whole thing. But
I think.
That's how most people have to watch them is on Netflix.
Let's say I'm going to sum up the problem like this. I feel like they are still releasing the episodes as if Americans and whoever's watching it actually still watches television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they need to adapt and be like, no, people are going to stream this. That's how they're going to watch it. And they need to just create a whole new Netflix thing and be like, this is for all of the specials.
I mean,
they do have HBO Max for that, so they should do it that way.
I actually think, I think it would be a great idea if they did it like I don't know what you would call it, the Marvel Netflix series, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think because I think that worked really well. I haven't actually researched how well it performed overall, how much people watched that. I know I kind of stopped watching those. I haven't seen the last seasons of like any of those shows, but I think that was a good way to kind of do it. You know, it's kind of like the MCU, except you're doing it in seasons instead of movies.
Right. It would just be really good if the movies were to maybe pull a couple characters from this TV series, like at least feature them so we can see there's some connectivity there. Because with the Marvel shows, like they didn't have any shout out from the movies. They were doing they're the ones doing all the shout outs, and it kind of made the timeline kind of skewed. You know, you really have to kind of think about like, okay, how does it fit in with everything that's been going on in the movies?
I mean, they did in the Netflix ones. Like it was a whole thing. You know, they referenced the Battle of New York at least in Daredevil, and I think there's a whole lot of fallout from that.
Yeah, they did, but nothing much from.
It wasn't as impactful as it was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, but after
the movies didn't reference the TV shows at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And when the shows try to make more references, it didn't seem like they were like.
I get it though.
They were like, you know, keeping track of what was going on in the.
I get it though from a marketing standpoint. You don't want the people who are watching the movies to feel like they've missed out on something.
Yeah, but I mean, I think.
But maybe you do because they're going to watch your show.
I mean, yeah, because I think you also should. That's weird, and I think that's where they've had a hard time with it. And I think I understand why they don't do it, because it's weird to try to fit it in such a way that like it rewards people who have been watching everything, but it doesn't alienate the people that have only been watching one thing or another.
Right, I get it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think the MCU has more or less been able to do that pretty well. You know, like I think you can jump into at least some of the movies and just be like, yeah, I can enjoy this. I can follow it, even though I haven't watched every other film leading up to it.
Yeah. But that's a good idea for I think it's gonna work out with the Gotham PD show going along with the new Batman films.
Yeah.
And that would be great if they were to introduce Batman Who Laughs, because he would be like, you know, a really good, like, you know, top tier villain, because we haven't really seen him before. We haven't seen him done yet before yet.
Yeah.
Or as a villain in a video game.
Yeah. Josh, you have another suggestion? Because as much as we apparently love to talk about superheroes, we're getting a little off topic.
Right. Here's something non-superhero related, but it's an idea for a TV series. It was almost a movie, but it got shut down. I guess production just didn't, you know, wasn't kind to it. God of War. God of War is, you know, of course, a very popular video game series.
What?
Yes. Hunter, you played this. Stop. Pretending to be surprised.
I've only not played like 3 or 5. I don't know. There were a lot.
There are only 4 of them, right? Four main ones, right?
Yeah, 4 main ones. There's also Ascension. There were like 3 spin-offs and like 2, like I think 2 like handheld games or something. It's hard to keep track of.
Yeah, I played one of the handhelds, and I really want to play 4, but haven't got a chance because I don't have a PS4 to play it on. I know I want to play it. Anyway, I say, you know, if you can't do a movie, put it on, make it into a TV series, put it on HBO, put it on Hulu, put it on Prime. Probably shouldn't put it on Disney Plus because it's God of War.
Yeah.
But you have enough content in the games to do, I think, at least a few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to need a budget because it's a guy fighting gods and mythical creatures.
It would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be badass.
Yeah.
It's got the potential of being on the same level as Game of Thrones or The Witcher.
It would be way more aggressive than either of those.
Yeah, all up in your face. Like, oh, see that god? I'm going to kill it.
Yeah, that'd be fun though.
Yeah. Would there be? I mean, I'm thinking of like for most of these shows, they do have a main character, but who can you think of? Who could be like some? I guess could they have some supporting characters that could help flesh out the show a little more? Because
yeah, well, I mean,
all I know is it's just Kratos is just going. Yeah, all I know is it's just Kratos going in there and wrecking house.
Yeah, I mean, Athena tends to be a pretty big part of it throughout, and then you have interactions with all of the gods.
But I think there is a need to have like a recurring characters.
Yeah,
you got to have like a character.
I mean, I'm sure they could come up with some
a posse.
They did that, did that for 4. They were able to come up with a few, not a lot, but I think technically, if you count Atreus, there were 3 supporting characters.
His son.
Yeah. Atreus was his son, which wasn't necessarily a supporting character. I mean, he kind of was technically, but he was also kind of playable. And then you had like the blacksmiths, the 2 brothers.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember those guys. Yeah.
And then you had the snake, which I forgot.
So you have Athena. You have a couple blacksmiths. I'm sure some lady friends in there. His son, which could show up later, I guess, once he's a little more mature.
If they did one where it explored like his relationship with his wife, I think that would be cool.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, like his wife that died in the game. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
That's literally the first thing you learn about the game.
You gotta throw in some romance to get the ladies to watch it.
Right. They could do some like flashback scenes of like him with his original family, and then some I guess showing like him get the relationship with his second wife, and then show what happened to her.
I'm just kidding, by the way. I'm a lady and definitely would watch it just to see Kratos kick the crap out of people.
Who would you want to see as Kratos?
Ooh, man, that'd be a tough one. Someone that I kind of want someone new. The faces of like the big action star. No, you need someone.
Bald.
He's bald. He can be bald. He's pretty built, but
Jason Statham.
No.
Sorry. The Rock.
No,
he's actually too big. Probably
he's in everything.
Yeah, no.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, when I watch the parody. Yeah, I want Kevin Hart.
That would be amazing.
Vin Diesel has the look, but he does not have. He doesn't have the. I don't want to hear him.
What about Christopher Judge?
I don't really know what he looks like. I never watched that. Was it Stargate he was in?
Yeah, he's in Stargate. He's a tall, relatively buff, beautiful black man with an amazingly deep voice.
Yeah, I mean, I know he did a great job in that.
Yeah, he did. He was the voice actor, so clearly we like him as Kratos. Yeah. But in Stargate, he was, he's a warrior. So like, I'm sure that he could do some fighting stuff.
Yeah, there you
go.
Big dude.
Who I feel
big dude for this.
kind of embarrassed about not knowing his name or not thinking of it right now. I want to say Danny something, but I could be wrong. The Drax, the wrestler guy.
Oh, Dave Bautista. Yeah.
Dave Bautista. I don't know why I was thinking.
I don't know. Christopher Judge might just look too friendly.
Well, you make him, you cover him in ash and give him those red, war paint. Give him that red war paint on, and have him grow out a Viking beard.
I've played Kratos before. I can do it.
He's a little old. He's 55 years old, but he's 6'3", so big dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big dude, but you got to think about age.
Yeah, but
Hunter, you can be in the parody.
What kind of parody? Never mind.
I mean,
okay, so that's fine. That's good.
So I've got one that is actually, I might have mentioned it to you guys before. I don't remember, but it's a book that I would love to see turned into either a movie or a TV show. I haven't fully decided which would be better, but it's called Not Even Bones. And have I told you guys about this?
No.
Okay,
Maybe. I don't know.
Cool. I first learned about it because I read a lot of like webtoons, and there's one that is basically essentially based on this story that is a book, and it's the best I can describe it is it's like young adult thriller horror, like it's dark fantasy, whatever you want to call it, but it's about a girl who she lives in this world where people are like they have special abilities, right? But her mom cuts up their bodies and sells them on the black market.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the main character, Nita, is essentially, she's the one who does all of her mom's dissecting for her. And then one day, her mom brings home a live boy. And Nita doesn't feel so great about that. So she lets him go. And through a very rapid chain of events, ends up on the black market herself. And has to try and escape and figure out how to get home.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like a fantasy, like they have these special abilities. She controls her own body. She can like heal herself and turn off her pain receptors and things like that. But there's a ton of different like almost like human version of these typical fantasy creatures, and they're all being sold for parts on the black market. And so it's a really interesting, like really dark twist on sort of your typical fantasy novel.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah, but it's like, so I read the webtoons, and within about 10 or 15 episodes of these little webtoons, I bought the first novel on Kindle, and then I think 2 days later bought the second novel on Kindle, and I'm waiting for the third one to come out in like a month or so. But it was just like nothing like I'd ever read before, because it was definitely, you could tell it's like pretty simple language and it's geared toward a younger audience. It's not like a Stephen King level of reading comprehension that you need, but it was like these really dark, like basically what I summed up is like the first couple of chapters, and then she tries to escape the black market and ends up killing people and questioning like where is her line in terms of her morality and things like that. And it's really fascinating. And I've been thoroughly enjoying it. And I mostly just want to see it brought out to the general public, because it's a good time in a weird sort of way.
As a TV series?
I think it would make a good TV series. It could also, I don't think it would work as a movie, just because thinking back to like the first book, like how much happens in that book. If you're going to try and just make one movie per book, I think we've just kind of in general learned that doesn't really work. It worked for like some of the earlier Harry Potters, but even those were like, well, we were kind of missing things we wish were there.
Yeah.
So I think doing a series would probably be the way to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not on Disney Plus.
No. But I just think it has the potential to be really like thought-provoking and really, really different. And like, if done live action, done well, like it could be really, really, it could be something else.
Yeah, I gotta see it as a animated.
I definitely could see. Wait, say that again. You said you couldn't see it as animated, or you could?
I could because you said it's a webtoon, so.
Yeah, and it's done well as a webtoon. It's gorgeous. But I would be fascinated to see it in either medium, honestly. But I think probably doing a TV series of some kind would be the way to go with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do we want to start a round of honorable mentions?
Yeah, let's do some honorable mentions. So we're running low on time, so these are going to be quick.
These are going to be quick, and I don't have to explain, which is good because I read this a long time ago, and I barely remember it. But I remember it was good. So these are actually, it's a book series that I couldn't remember the name of, so I quickly had to look it up. It is known as, I guess, the Old Kingdom series or the Abhorsen series.
Oh, I know those.
You do know those? Yeah. Like 5 years ago, I read the first one and started the second one, and I didn't finish the second one and haven't gotten any further, but I remember thinking they're really interesting, and I think that would work pretty well as a series, a TV series in that.
Yeah, I borrowed that book series from a friend of mine, and then she stopped talking to me, and so I still have them.
Yay, maybe I can borrow the second one.
You're welcome to them.
Yeah.
They're not mine.
As soon as I let you borrow The Witcher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool. I definitely remember reading those and thinking they were pretty in depth. Like, they built a very, very complex fantasy world.
Yeah.
Josh?
Me? I have I want to see there's a show that came out, I want to say the late 90s, Beast Wars. It's kind of like a Transformers-esque show. It took place in like prehistoric times. But if you watch it, you'll notice that it's like they tried to do like a CG animated show, but they did not have the budget for it, and it looks terrible. So I want to see that redone as a TV series or a video game, just because it would look so much better now versus like 20 years ago.
Sorry, what I heard is that you want to go and watch Beastars?
No. Beast Wars. As in, like, a cyborg android.
Yeah,
T-Rex.
Beastars, I got you.
No,
I know what it is.
Oh dear.
Cyborg or android, whatever.
Josh, we're making these
T-Rex,
quick, okay? I get that you want to watch Beastars. Now let's go to
android gorilla. Making myself perfectly clear here.
All right, Hannah. Now it's your turn since we got that he wants to watch Beastars.
No.
So my last one is another redoing of a show, because they did a movie way back in the day. It was not well received. Nobody really remembers it exists, but it's based on one of the most amazing fantasy series I've ever read, which is excuse my pronunciation, but it's the Prydain Chronicles.
How dare
No,
you.
literally, I have a whole pronunciation guide pulled up because I think it's I want to say it's like Welsh or something. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But the movie you guys would be familiar with is The Black Cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
Would I be familiar with that?
Maybe not. But they did a Disney movie way back in the day. It was okay, but it was not great. But the whole series revolves around Taran, and he's kind of growing up and going through his life, and he's hanging out with Princess Eilonwy and Fluterflam, who's a bard. Fluterflam. I'm telling you, I have a pronunciation guide.
Again, they just gave up halfway through that.
Oh my god, and it's spelled Flewddur.
What culture is this from?
I want to say it's Welsh, but I don't. Yeah, Welsh. Haha, nailed it.
Yeah, no, there's no way I'm pronouncing that then.
Yeah, Welsh. Yeah, and Gurgi, but it's who's a little like creature. But it's a great fantasy series. Again, they have a really like fully built out world. And they did the movie way back in the day, but I'd love to see it redone. Probably live action. It could be really, really, honestly, like I could see it being close to on par with like a Lord of the Rings.
Or redone as an animated movie with, I guess fleshed out characters and some stakes, I guess a bigger world to explore. Because you remember that movie, I remember like watching like trailers for it, like previews for it before another movie came on, but it was a lot older. But it could do really, really well here as live action or animated.
I think the movie maybe had a third of the book in it, and there's 5 books. Yeah, and it's probably one of my favorite book series ever, and I'd love to see it like really, really done well.
Yeah.
So, but that's
we have our hopes up for a lot of things.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Love to see some of these things. Give us, if you got any ideas of things that you want revamped, let us know. Redone, or just stories that you've heard that you'd love to see in a different medium. We'd love to hear it. But we're super excited to be starting season 3 off on a positive, optimistic, looking to the future kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fine.
We might be okay.
We'll get to it eventually. But next week we're gonna be having a conversation, kind of as a group, about we're gonna be redoing our previous podcast episode about representation in the media.
Yes.
Since we are possibly uniquely qualified to talk about that.
Yeah, represent.
Possibly.
But I think that's it for me. Anything else? Josh and Hunter?
No. Stay cool.
Wash your hands.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask in public.
Yeah.
Social distance.
Yeah.
Don't die. Don't get other people died.
Don't touch people.
Please. I miss my friends.
No touchy.
Okay.
Especially if you're where we are.
Yeah.
That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, nerd out.
Nerd out.
Nerd out.
Goodbye.
Do it now.